stop and smell the flowers. It's advice that's often ignored. But there is at least one place in Toronto where it's more than a suggestion. It's taken literally. Tonight, we take you to a garden where you don't need to see the beauty to experience it.
Well, I think gardening becomes a passion. It's very therapeutic, very forgiving, and you get a chance to express yourselves in some creative way. It works.
There's an expression that goes, to plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow. There's no question that Helen Craig and the Garden Club of Toronto believe in tomorrow. They have been for more than 60 years.
475 members, a group of women, small group, met in homes. And now we're meeting at the Civic Garden Center as our home in Edwards Gardens.
Since the beginning, the club has raised money for horticultural research and to pay for community greening projects. Projects like this children's garden at Edwards Gardens.
It's a hands-on garden for children. Children can go in there, they're individual plots, they can plant the seeds, maintain them, and then harvest their fruits and vegetables and flowers at the end of the season. There's some great demonstration gardens. The alphabet garden, for example. There are plants to represent each letter of the alphabet. The Z is zebra grass. It's a tall ornamental grass. It's striped.
The Garden Club has raised millions of dollars over the years, and it's planted beautiful gardens at places like Spadina House, Casa Loma, the Metro Zoo, and Black Creek Pioneer Village. But the Garden Club's first project, completed back in 1956, is this wonderful green space here at the offices of the Canadian National Institute for the Blind. It's called the Fragrant Garden, and wandering along its paths, you can certainly understand where that name came from. It's a garden that required a lot of extra consideration and planning in its layout.
But first and foremost, we go for a fragrance. There's the tulips and the hyacinths in the spring. We'll get marigolds and other plants like that. We also plant like viburnums and lilacs that are very fragrant. And a lot of the plants, the perennials that we use, the way that you release the scent is by pinching the leaf.
We can often, even by scent, if something gets really, really strong, you can tell it's coming to an end, and I'll often say, oh, that must be coming to the end, and somebody goes, how do you know that? They're starting to wither on the ends. Well, you can sense that stuff sometimes if you're used to the smell. I think we're very fortunate to have that experience here.
Peter Hogeveen has been tending the Fragrant Garden ever since he was a child. He worked alongside its first gardener, his dad.
I'm part of the garden, just like the flowers and the shrubs and the trees. That's the way I feel, anyways. I'm in rhythm with the garden. I do things automatically without thinking about them as the season progresses.
Throughout the seasons, Peter has also gained insight into the importance of this space to its blind visitors.
They see it in their own way. I often hear them joking when they come through. They say, Peter, the garden's looking good. And, you know, it's a pun on their part, but in another sense, they see their own way and through their other senses.
When you have limited vision, you just see the mass of color, and you have no idea what it, you know, like it could be just like a blob of red or yellow or whatever. It's only when I get it within, you know, a couple of inches of my eyes, really, that I can actually see the definition of the petals. So I really have to get, you know, really, really close, and then I can fully enjoy what the color has to offer.
Oh, listen to the fountain, eh?
That's
I know.
The fountain, it's just got such a calming.
Yellow and red really stand out for people who are visually impaired, and those colors are emphasized in the garden here. The chairs are painted yellow, the curbs on the paths are yellow. Also, the flowers are planted in beds that are raised about waist high to allow for easy touching and smelling.
I had a very different concept of what tulips looked like until I spent some time in this garden with my children, because I mean, a flower, I thought everything looked like roses. So when somebody said flower, that was what I kind of imagined was a rose, or a circle, like a daisy with all sorts of petals. And I didn't know that flowers really were very different than that and could be different. And the whole beauty of a blossom, that was an amazing experience for me, was to discover that these, you know, cherry blossoms or whatever could turn into actual other things, like apples and cherries and whatnot. To actually see it and feel it with your fingertips was just an immense sense of wonder.
My tendency is just to grab onto one of the branches and bring it close so I can smell it more closely. And I have a bad habit, you know, because sometimes when I'm walking along my street at home, if I see neighbors have beautiful colored, I tend to do the same thing, and I'm sure they must wonder what I'm trying to do. But here, you know, it's expected. It's something that you know, it's okay to do. That's all part of the experience, and that's what makes it so wonderful.
It's sort of soft and almost feel like suede.
Penny and Rhonda have been enjoying this garden for years. They both consider it a safe haven, a place to stop and listen to the wind in the trees, the water in the fountain, or to just relax and read a book. A private, sort of secret garden where they can experience and investigate nature.
The animals that live in the garden, the birds, the squirrels, the chipmunks, I had never gotten that close to some of those things before, and because they too feel safe here, they'll come up much closer. You can actually get them to come close enough so you can feed them. And I actually have seen, with my limited vision, a squirrel, and it was very, very close, and I'd never been that close to a squirrel.
A lot of sighted people come through this garden, and they walk straight through it, and they don't stop and they don't look.
You know, I probably would have been one of those people to walk right through this garden without really looking at it if it hadn't been for Penny and Rhonda. Stop and smell the flowers, Rhonda told me. So I did.
You take your hand and do like a whole bunch of them at once. The softness is absolutely incredible.
Yes.
Just like...
And having, you know, being fully sighted, I wouldn't do this.
No, you probably
But it's a wonderful way of experiencing a garden differently. So thank you for that.
It's a blessing. What else can you say? It just makes a difference in my life and certainly in the people who use the garden.
We'll be back with the day's business news and the weather forecast right after this break.